Greetings, welcome back. So, now you know all about the corrugator and the frontalis, the two main muscles that control the shape of the eyes and the position of the eyebrows, and therefore communicate passive and aggressive emotions. And you know about the zygomatic major and the depressor, the two main muscles that work in opposition to each other, controlling the shape of the mouth and communicating positive and negative emotions. But there are two negative expressions that rely on different muscles than those ones do. One of them is, as you might expect, below the mouth, and that is called the mentalis, or the pouting muscle. The other is the levator labii, which counterintuitively is above the mouth. Let's talk about that one first. The levator is the sneering muscle. It runs straight up and down, like an elevator, beside the nostril, attaching to bone at the top and towards the middle of the upper lip at the bottom. A sneer is a negative expression, to be sure, and it signifies either contempt, cruelty, or disgust, or combination. If you pair a contracted frontalis muscle with a contracted levator muscle, you get disgust, a passive negative emotion, like seeing a puddle of vomit on the floor or a really scary monster emerging from your closet. If you pair it with a contracted corrugator muscle, you get contempt or cruelty, like the kind of expression that a supervillain might have. Contempt and cruelty are both aggressive, negative emotions. When it contracts, it pulls the upper lip upwards, breaking the upper teeth good, lower teeth bad rule. But it tends to reveal only the 4 middle teeth. Also, because it is close to the nostrils, it tends to pull and flare the nostrils a little bit. That is how you learn to read the difference between a smile and a sneer. If someone is revealing their upper teeth all the way across, they probably like you or are amused by what you just said. If you only see the middle 4 teeth and their nostrils are a little bit flared, you might need deodorant. The mentalis muscle is more predictably placed, being below the mouth, but it works in a very unpredictable and somewhat complicated way. Now let's go way back and remember that muscles cannot push, they can only pull. They can pull one end of themselves towards the other. That's the only thing that a muscle can do, that is, to contract. So you might wonder, if a muscle can only contract, how is it possible to push your lower lip out? I was stumped by this question for a very long time, but I think I have an explanation. Although it moves the lower lip, the mentalis is actually attached to bone just below your gum line and to the skin of your chin, not your lower lip. When it contracts, it pulls your chin flesh up and towards your gum line area. So how does the mentalis create that telltale sign of a pout, the lower lip going out? Well, it works in conjunction with some of the other facial muscles not usually associated with expression, those being the chewing and speaking muscles that clench the jaw. When those muscles contract simultaneously with the mentalis, that bunched up flesh of your lower lip, forced up by the compressing of the flesh of the chin, has to go somewhere because the body is a bag, so it gets forced outwards, resulting in a pout. So now you know all of the main muscles of expression in the human face. How does that make you feel? Happy? Maybe you're tired, maybe a little bit of both. Maybe you need a rest and a snack. Well, I've got good news for you. Your homework assignment can be done sitting on the couch and snacking to your heart's content. Your assignment is to watch a movie, preferably one with good acting. And as you watch, I want you to pay close attention to how the actors or animated characters communicate their feelings. Maybe freeze frame a few times and ask yourself which of the 6 muscles that you now know about are doing the work. Ask yourself, how do the positive and negative muscles work in various combinations with the passive and aggressive muscles to create an endless variety of nuanced expression? All right, that's it. Enjoy the movie.